Hola, mi gente. Joe Barreto back with you at the Credit Card Connection. I'm so glad you can join me. Well, mi gente, we're in the middle of summer. As I record this, it's Friday, August 2nd. It's hot, it's humid, but there's still a lot of travel out there that a lot of you are planning to do. The reason for this video today is that I want to tell you exactly what I did in the last couple of weeks that gave me great value in picking the hotels, picking the car rentals, how I went about it, what I said and what I didn't say, because a lot of times hotels and car rental agencies don't expect you to know a heck of a lot. They kind of just give you what they give you. They expect you to be happy with it, go to your room, check out the car, keep it moving. But you need to take a step back before you agree to any of it. And you're going to see that what I'm going to tell you today is going to enhance that trip for you. You will get more value, more bang for your buck. So strap in, let's get ready, let's jump into it. If this all sounds good to you, hit that like and subscribe, mi gente, okay? So let's jump into it. First thing, you're gonna see me going back and forth because I got some notes here from what I did over the last couple of weeks. So I'm gonna start first with the car rentals. As you saw in the thumbnail, I have Hertz, Avis, and National. Those are three of the biggest. You have a lot of others like Budget and Enterprise and things like that that you can rent from. But the three that I have on the thumbnail are the largest. And those three also tend to be the ones that get you some sort of status with certain credit cards. And that's why I have them up there. So for today's example, I'm going to use Hertz, which is my preferred car rental agency. And you're going to see why. First things first, as I have it here, you always want to make sure that you use a credit card when renting a car, just because of the insurances right off the bat. Any issues with the credit card, you at least have a chance to fight it. If you do it on a debit card, it's harder to fight. The money comes instantly out of your bank and you're done for. So I'd rather you be prepared, get a credit card that has some sort of insurance with it. So in this example, I use the American Express Platinum card, even though I have Chase cards, and Chase does give you primary renter's insurance for car rentals. That means that you don't have to go through your own insurance. The issue that I've had, and I've said it in a number of videos, is that prior to just last week, and I brought this up during a live I did, Chase had an alliance with eClaims Online, and their insurance backer, which was Alliance, were horrific. I had issues using them before. It took me 8 months to win back my money for a chip in a glass that I put the claim for multiple times. But you still want to make sure that you use a credit card for the insurance so that you don't have to pay anywhere from $15 a day to $25 a day when renting a car. I kid you not, the insurance can cost you almost as much as the car rental itself on a daily basis. So you want to use a card that comes with the insurance. Now, if you have Amex, Amex gives you secondary insurance. However, if you choose to go to the premium version of it, $19 to $24, one payment, not every day, one payment from day one of your rental up to day 42. So if you think about it, if you're doing it for 42 days, you're going to spend about 50 cents a day for car rental insurance. So for me, the Amex Platinum wins this one hands down. And their customer service is a heck of a lot better than the one through Chase, even though Chase is free. But remember, sometimes there's a saying in Spanish, lo barato siempre sale caro. And that's what seems to be really cheap and, inexpensive comes out very expensive. So just remember that, okay? The next thing is this, guys. You need to make sure that the car rental agency you're going to use, if it's Hertz, Avis, or whatever, become a member of their loyalty program. It doesn't cost you anything. You download an app, you create an account, and now you have some sort of status. And any rentals you do will always add up to those, to your account. And eventually, if you rent enough, you'll get a free rental. But here's the thing. Once you have status and you have one of the credit cards that gives you a higher status, now, you're ahead of the game. Everything is already set up. You just enroll with any of the cards like I did with American Express. And Amex for Hertz gives me President's Circle status. So why is that important? I just did a trip to Florida and I paid for and rented for 8 days a Mazda 3. Okay. But with American Express Platinum and the President's Circle status that Hertz gives you, I was able to upgrade. Now, here's the first tip and the first hack that I'm going to tell you. When you go, now, a lot of airports, if they're large airports, you can choose from certain cars in the rows that they tell you can pick from if you're at that status, and you could drive off the lot with a car that wasn't the one that you chose. But on a smaller airport like Jacksonville Airport, where I was in Florida, you have to go to the counter first because they don't have the cars set up like that outside. So I got there and the guy did give me an upgrade technically. It was for a Nissan Altima or a Chrysler 300, a bigger car, but I didn't want any of those cars. So a lot of people that I saw them right next to me in the line next to me, even though I had a separate one for the President's Circle or Hertz Gold status, right? I saw people just accepting whatever cars they got. I told the guy, I said, look, thanks for giving me a bigger car, but my friend Anthony's coming. We're going to do some videos. I want a cool car. He goes, okay, these are the cool cars that I have. He says, I have a Camaro. I have, it was an older Mercedes. It was like 2 or 3 years old. I didn't want to take that because once a car is 2 or 3 years old in a car rental, the miles add up and they've taken a beating. So I didn't want a headache in the future. So he gave me a convertible Mustang, which is in a whole other category, but he gave it to me for the same price as the Mazda 3. So I was happy with that. So here's the second tip though. I take the car, I go outside, I'm still in the lot inside the airport. All of a sudden, I put the air on and the little louver for the air conditioning vent flew off. I said, wait a minute. I'm not doing this. I literally drove backwards in the lot, went back to the guy and said, look, here's the piece of the louver that came off. He apologized, gave me a newer. So I had a 2023 Mustang, gave me a 2024, and it was beautiful. And that's what I ended up renting the rest of the time that I was there. So I tell you all of this to tell you, you can ask for upgrades. You can ask for different cars. You can ask for a different category of car for what you just paid for, especially if you hold status with that particular retailer, Hertz, Avis, Budget, whoever it is that you're using, National. If you have status, you've got some more pull for you. So you're better off just asking. You have nothing to lose. And I got a great car out of it. And I was able to enjoy the trip a lot better for the same price. So the second thing is this. Also make sure before you book that if you don't have a premium credit card for the status, check with your employer. If you're a part of a union, check with your union and see if they offer discounts. Like for the United Federation of Teachers, there's this program that they call Teach ID that you put in, and you put in your file number, and then they give you discounts all year long, not just for car rentals, but for hotels, for amusements, for concerts, for Broadway shows. So always check to see if your employer or your union has an affiliation with any of these other agencies to give you the discounts. That money's better in your pocket than in the money of the companies, right? So just make sure you go out and ask and find those codes out and just input them into your app, and it saves them. If you have AAA, if you have AARP, all those things will offer you discounts, okay? So just make sure you ask that right before you do that car rental. The next thing I want you to do is just to make sure, and this one I kind of alluded to earlier, that the credit card you're using has status, because a lot of the status can give you a lot, more money in your pocket and a better ride overall. So Amex gives you that with Hertz. You have the Founders Card that also gives you the Founders Card membership that gives you that with Hertz, and Avis and Sixth Rent-A-Car. So those are things you want to know before you actually go and rent. Now, here's the most important tip of any of the tips for car rentals. And I say this to you because this saved me a lot of money and headaches when I went to Europe and rented a car in Europe, and I used that Chase insurance. I always take pictures of the outside of the car and the inside. The moment I get to the spot that they tell you to go pick up the car, I go around the car, I do a quick video, And then I take pictures of the bumpers, especially the bumpers, the rear where the trunk is, because if people throw in luggage, you know that's going to take a beating. Or if people are parking in the street in New York, those bumpers are going to take a beating. So you want pictures. And the reason why, you have a timestamp when you save them. This way, you could say, this is what my car looked like when I picked it up, and this is what I'm giving it to you back like, okay? So that's your proof. I did that in Europe, and I was able to save myself the headache because they said there was other damage to the car, which I didn't do. I had the pictures to prove those damages were there. Because remember, especially in peak travel season, the turnover of the cars is quick. They really don't pay a lot of attention to it. As long as there's enough oil and gas in the car, they just vacuum up the sand and dust and keep it moving to the next guy. So you need to make sure you take pictures inside and out for your own protection. So if there's ever any question about that car rental that you had and that you did, that you were smoking or there was a hole in the seat, whatever it is, you have proof that you didn't do it because you have the pictures from when you first picked it up. All right. So always take pictures before you leave that lot. It'll save you a giant headache, mi gente. So now that we went over the car rentals, I just want to make sure I have all of this here. Yes, we're going to go into hotels. Now, hotels, especially if you have a credit card with that hotel chain, Marriott, Hilton, who's the other one? Hyatt, IHG, things like that, Choice. You want to make sure, again, you download the loyalty app. It doesn't cost you anything. And you start using the app, and you always use your account number when making a booking. Now, the problem is that people don't realize a lot of times if you use Expedia or Travelocity or something like that, those points may not code for you to get those travel points back into your account for your loyalty. It has to be usually done either straight by calling the hotel or by doing it on their own app to make the reservation. So you got to make sure you do that. Even with the fine hotels and resorts and other concierge services from MasterCard, they're going to tell you, the loyalty points may not come back into your account. Sometimes they do, but a lot of times they don't. So you want to make sure you use your loyalty card, especially at a hotel, and if it gives you status. So once again, even though I have the Marriott Bonvoy business card, which gives me automatic gold status at Marriott, the American Express Platinum card gave me the gold status before I even had the business card, not only with Marriott, but with Hilton as well. Now, a lot of people are going to say, but the gold status isn't all that great. That might be true. It might not be platinum or whatever, diamond, elite or whatever, but I'm going to be honest with you. It's better than no status. It's better than silver status. I was able to book when I went to Florida. I stayed in Port St. Lucie, and I stayed at I believe it's the Town Hill or Spring Hill Suites in Port St. Lucie. Beautiful room. It was like an apartment, almost like a timeshare apartment. And the woman greeted me with, thank you for being a gold member. You always want them to know that you have that status. You always want them to know that you're not new to the brand, because they will take care of you. I got a much nicer room with a much nicer view. They gave me the complimentary fast Wi-Fi, which I use for the channel, right? They give you the water that normally you would still have to pay for, believe it or not, in their vending machines downstairs. And they gave me late checkout, early check-in, late checkout, which is huge, guys, especially in the mornings. If you have a late flight, you want to make sure that you don't have to rush. So you could just have your breakfast, go back to your room, relax, or use the pool. So that status gives you that luxury of time. And you don't have to leave let's say your bags at the desk and come back and get them. You have a place to go back to and change and relax and stuff like that. So the status is huge when you're going to stay at the hotel. Here's the other thing, and I'm going to just check my notes to make sure. I learned this hack from my boy Sledge and a lot of other creators, but Sledge is like just notorious for this. Always ask for an upgrade. I'm gold status. I always tell them, can I get an upgraded room? Can I get an even later checkout than 2:00? Can I go to 4:00? Can I get a free breakfast? You ask for the things there. Sometimes people do it on the chat in the app, or you can call in advance. But what I tell you is never be afraid to ask. You lose nothing by asking for the upgrades, guys. Because here's the thing. If you have a loyalty to that chain, even if you don't have the status, but they see that you have a loyalty number. I'll even go one with Best Western. Now, Best Western, I've stayed in plenty of times, especially on my trips driving to Florida, right? Once they see you have a status with them, they automatically treat you better. They'll give you the earlier checkout. They'll give you the nicer room. They'll give you a room with a better view. Different things like that, a little bit goes a long way. So having that status and having them know that you are a part of it is huge. So when I went to stay in Port St. Lucie, they treated me wonderfully. I cannot complain the way I was treated. The breakfast was awesome the next day, and I got a late checkout. Now, a week and a half later was my anniversary, July 25th. I went to the Stamford Marriott Resort and Spa, and they knew well in advance that it was my 25th anniversary. I actually called them about a month ago, and I said, look, we go there usually every year for the one night because it's close by the house and it's nice, just a quick getaway. A lot of nice restaurants and stuff over there in Stamford. And when I got there, it was funny because NBC Sports was there for the Olympics and they were using a lot of the hotel for it. So the hotel was kind of full when we got there. They let me check in at 12 o'clock. They gave me the free parking, which they never really do, according to the manager there. They gave me an upgraded room. They gave me access as a gold status member to their concierge level, the lounge that's open 24 hours for you to get snacks, water, coffee, soda, breakfast, dinner even from 5 to 10. There was an automatic gelato maker there, all this other stuff. That was free. They gave me a free breakfast for two. And the breakfast there daily was about $35 a person. They gave me that for free. They let me check out at 4 o'clock. I mean, and they gave me discounts for dinner. So I can't complain. They treated me as if I was at their top level tier with just gold status. Plus, they sent a bottle of wine and a charcuterie board to the room to celebrate the anniversary. So I have to tell you, you need to be upfront and just ask. Never be afraid to ask for the upgrade. If there's a special celebration, a birthday, a wedding, an anniversary, a promotion at work, or if you haven't been on vacation in a long time, just tell them. They really do go out of their way to try to assist you to make it a better experience. And when I got that survey, the first thing I did was put how wonderful they were to me and how great they were, to my wife as well, in terms of just how we felt treated. We felt special. Every time we passed the front, they would call us by our name and say hi. So those are the things that kind of help elevate that stay, especially if you haven't been on a vacation or a break for a while, right? Any little bit helps and makes you feel better. The other thing is this, guys. If you have a credit card, let's say like the Marriott Bonvoy Brilliant, where you're paying the $650 a year. Now I know it's a lot. Or the Hilton Aspire, which is $550 a year. Again, I know it's a lot of money. But the perks and benefits that you get, some of the cards give you money that you could buy gift cards. Like I have the Hilton Surpass. Every quarter, I get a $50 Hilton gift card to use at a Hilton hotel. So far, I have 3 of them. So it's $150 I can use at a Hilton property. When I go stay, I don't have to put out of my pocket. I already have those there. So there's different things that, although you're paying more, you also get travel protections. You get treated a lot better at the hotels because the status is automatic. You don't have to even ask really for it up front, even though I always tell you, do say something when you're up front just in case. But, these are things that you kind of pay a little bit more, but the experience and the time that you're spending there, the money you're spending there, you're making memories, and it makes those memories a heck of a lot better and sweeter than having a miserable room where it's dirty, where you had to pay extra for breakfast, where they nickel and dime you for everything. So those are the things I'm trying to tell you to avoid with all of this. And so far, I've been able to do that just in the first couple of weeks, coming this past July. Going forward at the end of this month, we have a creator meetup in New Orleans. I've never been, but I'm staying at the Hyatt Centric. I got that Hyatt Centric 5 nights free using my points with Hyatt, their free night certificate, the flights I got for free. You know, again, that's why we kind of do this in this space for points and miles and things like that. And I know there's team cashback, right? But again, I didn't have to put anything out of my pocket. And that trip that I did for my anniversary, if I would have taken the cost of the room, the meals, the breakfast, the parking, the concierge level and everything, it would have been well over $600. I paid nothing. Okay. And that was just with regular gold status that I hold with the American Express Platinum and my Marriott Bonvoy business card. If I even got rid of one of those cards, the other one still gives me the status. So mi gente, I hope you were able to just, gain some info from this video. I want you guys to know that don't be embarrassed to ask, because the worst thing they could do is tell you we don't have it or we can't, right? It's always a good feeling when they say, yeah, you know what, here's the upgraded car, or here's this, or here's a bigger room, or you know what, the hotel isn't full, you could check out later. Just ask, and you'll be surprised. The responses, for the most part, will be positive, and it'll make your trip a more positive experience. So mi gente, like I always say, you could be anywhere else. You chose to be here. I thank you for that. But more than anything else, mi gente, I thank you for giving me the privilege of your time. Until next time, mi gente, take care.